Alright, so welcome. This is the Crunchy Fat, and this is What is Female Deku with Upper Moon Zero Part 4. Now then, where we last left off, Izumi was quickly approaching I believe it was one of Tanjiro's or Nezuko's descendants, I remember it that well, as her blade was about an inch away from them. It was blocked by hold on, give me a minute. Sorry about that. As Izumi would look up, as her blade would have been blocked by Midnight, who is the current love pillar. As Midnight would say, not so fast, Upper Moon Zero. As she'd look over to one of the descendant of I'll say it's the descendant of Nezuko, as she would yell at them to run, as they would begin to run off, as she would then initiate into a fight with Izumi, as Shigaraki and Dabi are watching from the sidelines. With this all occurring in about a couple, with all this happening, Midnight manages to signal to All Might and Endeavor that she's found Upper Moon Zero, as she would still be engaging in a duel with Midnight, with Endeavor and All Might arriving there, as Endeavor would be using his quirk this time, as he'd throw that flaming spear that he threw at the Nomu during the Hostu City incident. As Izumi would have been hit by it, as this would have opened up her guard enough for Midnight to get a slash across her abdomen. As Izumi still not feeling any pain at this point, quickly regenerates it, as she then sends Midnight flying back with a large burst I'll say it was sort of like a move. She has copied Muzan's Blood Demon art, which is, for those of you who haven't read the manga, this is spoiler warning. She basically sends out a wave that paralyzes people, as it also sends them back as well. As she would then make her way towards All Might, Midnight, and Endeavor in order to finish them off. As Izumi would see that the sun is rising, as her hand does burn when the sun beams reach it, as she pulls it back into the dark, as she would say to Dabi and Shigaraki that they're leaving now. The sun's rising. As she would also have Nakime's Blood Demon art, which is the interdimensional fortress. As she would strum a guitar that she had with her, as they would all teleport to the interdimensional fortress, as Midnight and Endeavor and All Might were furious that Upper Moon Zero managed to get away again. As now, I'm going to say UA is a college in this one, so everybody will be 18 when they join it. As the pro heroes and Demon Slayers are getting furious that the fact that she keeps Upper Moon Zero keeps escaping, as they're basically saying now that if they do not get her at this anytime soon, she will become immune to the sun, and she'll become a bigger problem than she already is. As All Might would say, we're getting some UA new students into UA, and two of them are descendants of Tanjiro Kamado and Nezuko Kamado. So there's a possibility they can learn they can possibly learn sun breathing and be able to defeat Upper Moon Zero. As the Hero Association would say, that is a brilliant idea. As we fast forward a couple of years, as Izumi, Shigaraki, and Dabi would still be gaining more and more power, as Izumi would think, it's going to get to that time where I'm going to have to return to that place. Ugh, it still disgusts me. And the place I'm talking about is the battle site, is the site where Muzan had his final battle. As night would begin to fall, as Izumi, Dabi, and Shigaraki would move out, as Izumi would say that she knows a place where they could become immune to the sun, but is their last resort, so we need to get there as soon as possible and pray to God that it's still there. As they would make their way to the site, as what they see is a semi-ruined city that still had the wooden houses and all that. As Shigaraki and Dabi would ask, "What is this place?" As Izumi would respond with, "This is Muzan, the final site of Muzan's battle. He was the previous Demon King. He was the Demon King before his defeat, and a new Demon King arose, but they were turned back into human. So we're the only demons left." As she's currently searching through the rubble, as she's saying this, as Shigaraki and Dabi would say, "Then why is it that you never joined in the final battle?" As Izumi would say, "It's because I was never deployed out on missions or anything like that. Muzan was afraid that if I got too strong, I would overthrow him. So I basically never did anything he asked me to do. And he never sent me out on missions. But I did socialize with some of the Upper Moons who did know of me. And I'm going to say the only Upper Moons who did know her were Upper Moon 6 Daki, Upper Moon 3 Akaza, and Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo. As she would look through the rubble, as she would spot something, and she would say, "I found it," as she would reach into the rubble and pull it out. As Shigaraki and Dabi would ask, "What is that?" As Izumi would say, "This is the arm of the Demon King who turned back into human. If we can devour this, then we will be immune to the sun." As Dabi and Shigaraki would say, "Well, what are we waiting for?" As a blade would come through, hitting the ground between them, as Izumi would say, "That. We were waiting for that." As All Might would say, "Stop right there, Upper Moon Zero." As Izumi would sigh and say, "Speak of the devil and he shall appear. What is it, All Might?" as All Might would say, we are here to exterminate you and to rid the world of you demons. As Izumi would say, now, that's quite an interesting theory. But on the other hand, how about you take this? As she would then grow blades out of her body. As Izumi would say, Shigaraki, Dabi, my children, please leave the area. Mommy has some business to deal with. As they would both know what this means. As they would say, yes, ma'am. As she would say, oh, and one more thing before you leave. As she passes the arm to them, she'd say, as she says, take this and try not to decay it or burn it. I know what happened last time, and I'm not having a repeat of that. As Shigaraki and Dabi would nod, as they would then move out of the area. As Izumi would say, now then, this is where the fun begins, as she begins to crack her knuckles. As she would then dash towards them, as she would then release all the blades at once as chaotic crescent moon energy blade flashes would form around them, as this would take out some heroes who are too close. Namely being, I'll say, Crust, the pro hero Crust, Wash, and I'll say the water hose heroes. Yeah, they were taken out by Izumi. As she would go, I knew they were weak, which is why I took them out. Didn't think they'd be that weak. As she would then look back as she'd say, now, All Might. As she would take out her flesh blade. As she then says, let's dance. As she then puts her blade to her side, as lightning begins to crackle through it. And that is where I'm going to end this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed it, and I pray that this video does not get age restricted, because I'm sick of writing appeals right now. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.